Live on digital tape, beneath the shadow of the Hollywood sign, it's Benny versus the Penny. Here's your host, Ben Maller.
Hey, we have made it. Now, this show, Benny versus the Penny, is a surviving show. We go way back to the early days of terrestrial radio. I know you love when we say terrestrial radio, Tom.
Terrestrial radio, what is that? Sounds like outer space. What does that
Yeah.
mean?
The
You mean
show's
like the
been on
radio we had in our car and the radio we had at home?
something like this. I think we're like at year 20 of Benny versus the Penny. It's been on.
True.
It was on the Ben Maller show on radio. It was on the podcast, and it was on television the last couple of years. And we've decided now to just give the show away for free. Either that or the people at NBC decided that we should give the show away for free.
Exactly. That's right.
But either way, we are excited to be here. And I read the other day that the number one job that kids want today, young people, is to be a YouTuber. And so this show survives on YouTube. It thrives. This is our ecosystem on YouTube. Therefore, we are doing the top job that every kid growing up, just about every kid wants to be on YouTube. That's us right now. And if you're new to this because you didn't watch the TV show the last couple of years or somehow missed the radio show, obviously not on NBC anymore. The Penny's going to be canceled by the U.S. government at some point here. But this is plausibly a football show. We love the NFL. We look at all the games, all the matchups during the season, handicap every game. And then I test myself against an inanimate object, the Penny. And since this is a season preview show, there are no games. Normally, heads would be the home team, tails would be the road team on the Penny. We flip the Penny up in the air. But it's a little different, Tom, this week. Can you explain why and how things are going to work here?
We're going to be doing the under-overs, win totals. Heads would be over, tails would be under, and we're going to take a look at a lot of the big picks in the NFL. A lot of people predicting the Lions and the Chiefs to win a lot of games, and the Jaguars and the Saints to win not very many. The geniuses that pick those numbers have taken the bold steps of saying that the Lions are going to win a lot of games and the Chiefs are going to win a lot of games and the Jaguars aren't, which is what happens every year anyway, right?
That's right. But before we get to the game, Sam, we have other business to get to, yes?
Oh, yeah. So proud NBC has moved us from the straitjacket and limited reach of cable and streaming to the worldwide platform here on YouTube, as you've mentioned. It's Benny versus the Penny. And in season 1, Ben, you boat raced that brainless Penny. In season 2, the brainless Penny beat you. You don't want me to spend too much time on that, I know. But Ben, it goes to show you that to pick these games, it's really, really hard. You know, even if you have a Saddleback college education, have all the information to make an informed wager, still you can be beat by a brainless Penny. So, Ben, as we begin season 3 of Benny versus the Penny, Penny for your thoughts.
If only I was from Elmira, New York. And then I would do so well if I was from sleepy Elmira, New York. No, my first thought, Tom, is how about this wardrobe? Okay, we don't have a wardrobe budget. When we agreed to do the show on YouTube this season, I thought, well, I'm sure the people over at YouTube will send us some money for wardrobe. So this is the classic. This is the classic Benny versus the Penny wardrobe. This is the one I wore all of season 1 on television of Benny versus the Penny. So I brought it back for this maiden voyage here on YouTube. But I got
this $9.99 T-shirt on Hollywood Boulevard just for this show.
It's my time to talk, Tom. It's my time to talk. So my first thought is the cheesy goodness, the Green Bay Packers. My entire life, the Green Bay Packers had mostly good football teams, and they've also been milk toast. They've just been dull. And they did something that they've never done in my life. They made a bold trade and then paid a bunch of money. We're talking about Micah Parsons, of course, who came over from Dallas the other day. I love it. It's an alpha move. F them picks. $120 million of guaranteed money for Micah Parsons. That is insane. Maller report card. The Packers get an A-. I can't go A+ because Micah Parsons does have a fatal flaw. He gets tight-took-his syndrome in big games. He's a terrible big game player. Right. But during the regular season, he'll be fine. Cowboys, I can only give them a C. And all these people hyping up draft picks, there's a word for those people, losers. I don't care about draft picks. I don't care about salary cap space, and anyone promoting Jerry Jones because of salary cap space and because of the draft picks is a dope. And the Packers are now the betting favorite to win their division. That seems like a bit of an overreaction, but they are a betting favorite. And how about the reason this trade happened? Mentioned this on the radio show, but the agent, David Mulugeta, that's a mouthful. The agent,
David Mulugeta.
The agent for Micah Parsons, he got into a sparring match, and you don't mess with Texas. You don't mess with Jerry Jones. And so now Micah Parsons will be buying wool socks. He's got enough money to buy really nice wool socks and a parka and some long johns, which he's going to need in Green Bay. My next thought, Tom, how about some horseplay in Indianapolis? I've often preached on my different platforms about the NFL draft. What do I always say, Tom? A prospect is a suspect until proven otherwise. Well,
I remember you stole that from me years ago, but it is it's true.
I stole it from Dusty Baker. But Anthony Richardson was beaten out for the Colts' #1 job by Daniel Jones. Okay, that is akin to losing a horse race against a three-legged horse. What are we doing here? And Shane Steichen, the head coach, he announced recently that they're likely going to use the former top 5 draft pick, Anthony Richardson, as a short yardage gadget guy. From top 5 pick to gadget guy in a couple of years. How embarrassing. He needs to go down the yellow brick road and figure out how to throw the football. And my final
he'll be a skinny refrigerator Perry.
Pretty much. And my final thought, Tom, the deep pockets, roughly 30 billion. We get this number every year. It keeps going up. Roughly 30 billion will be wagered on the NFL this season. That is just legally. Forget all the neighborhood bookies and all the offshore and all the illegal gambling stuff. That, according to the American Gaming Association, that is more, Tom, than the GDP of Belize. There is more money being wagered than the GDP of Belize. Can you find Belize on a map, Tom?
Yes, I can. Belize is down towards Central America, and the official language of Belize is
what is it, Tom?
English.
You're making,
yes,
I feel like you're making.
I got 2, not 1, but 2 Belizean neighbors.
All right. Well, I do like the fact that the NFL, most of my life, treated gambling like it was the bubonic plague. It was cooties, and now they're like Scrooge McDuck in a money bin with all the money they're making from gambling. And we want you to win, though. That's why we're doing Benny versus the Penny. So enough of that, Tom. Let's move on.
Yes, we choose preseason win total over-unders, and this preseason spectacular of Benny versus the Penny. Heads is over, tails is under. Let's get to the flipping show. First, we go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the birthplace of our freedom. The defending champion Philadelphia Eagles projected to get 11.5 wins, Big Ben.
Yeah, so 11.5. These lines, by the way, courtesy of FanDuel. We're using FanDuel for the win totals here this week on Benny versus the Penny. So I'm going to go under on the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Now, when I was a little boy, I'd stay up late at night. I'd listen to this little AM transistor radio, and I heard this guy, Tomm Looney, tell me about the Super Bowl hangover when I was a little child. And so I've always remembered that, Tom, when handicapping these games. It's
such so flattering to know that you studied under my expert tutelage.
Well, yeah, it was great. Back in was that 1979 or something like that? I don't know. Anyway,
I was born in 79. You creep.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, in all seriousness, though, quickly, when you look at the Eagles here, Kellen Moore is gone, the offensive coordinator last year. He went to coach the Saints, so he'll be fired next year. He'll be back in Philadelphia. But the Eagles have changed offensive coordinators. Someone named Kevin Patella takes over. I don't know. I know there's a street in Anaheim called Cutella, but this is a guy named Kevin Patella. He's never called plays before, and I don't know whether it'll be good or not. The other factors here, you've got Saquon Barkley coming off a career year, and the defense in Philadelphia was ranked 29th in 2023 in DVOA. They were #1 last season. So both those things are hard to sustain. The other big Komodo dragon in the room here, Philadelphia. If you look ahead here, they play 11 games this NFL season against playoff teams from last year. That is tied for the most in the NFL. So it's fly, Eagles, fly into the under. Under
Okay.
11.5 wins.
Let's let that penny fly like an eagle, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. Ooh, penny landing on tails. Penny Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the under, and Benny going with the under. Now
I got to tell you, Tom, I love the graphics this year. We have really upgraded the graphics. What's next, Tom?
Okay, thank you so much, Ben. I've worked on that very hard with the department here. Now the second over-under total in our BVP preseason spectacular will be Washington, D.C. Beneath the shadow of the Washington Monument, we go there. And beneath the shadow of National Guard bayonets, the Commanders win total 9.5 wins.
It's never been safer, Tom, in Washington, D.C. So I'm going to go under on Washington here. And you look at things that are outrageous that normally don't happen. There's a phrase, although I don't believe it's actually true, that lightning does not strike twice in the same spot. I think it occasionally does, but very rarely.
Yes, the other day, a guy got hit 3 times in his lifetime, and then when he died, the lightning hit his grave.
Oh, it's very unfortunate. Washington, you're making that up. Washington went 4-1 in games decided by a field goal last year, a field goal or less. Several dramatic Jaden Daniels whirlwind victories, 8-1 in one-score games for the Washington football team. That is unsustainable as well. Dan Quinn, Washington's defensive-minded head coach there, remains a liability. The defense remains a liability here. They are pretty soft there. And while Jaden Daniels painted the Mona Lisa last season, captain clutch, all that for the Washington football team, watch out. And this is another thing I learned from you, Tom, the sophomore slump. If you don't believe me, ask CJ Stroud there in Houston about the sophomore slump. So mark me down for under on the Commanders. I'm going to go under on the Commanders. And since the 17-game schedule began, there are 6 teams like Washington that won 10 or more games while winning 80% of their games that were close. None of those teams improved the following year. The average decline by 5.3 wins.
Wow.
So history says that it's going to get worse, not better, in Washington. What's next, Tom?
I love how you do. What's next is we throw that penny in the air, and let's hope it doesn't collide with an Army helicopter. Penny landing on heads. Penny going with the over. Benny going with the under with the Washington Commanders.
All right, moving on, Tom. Where are we headed now?
Okay. We already flipped that coin. We go to Detroit, Michigan, where they have a quarterback who went to Cal Berkeley, but somehow, Ben, when he was a rookie with the Rams, didn't know that the sun rose in the east and it's set in the west. Do you remember that?
They don't teach you that in Berkeley, Tom. They teach you how to hug trees and do other things.
That's true. That's true. Very important things. Total wins for the Lions this year are projected to be 10.5.
All right, so 10.5 wins here. We'll update that graphic there. 10.5 wins for the Lions, over, under. So Honolulu, boo, boo. Honolulu, boo, boo here. I'm going to go under on Detroit. Now, we mentioned the change earlier in Philadelphia with their offensive coordinator. Well, if you look at the Lions here, both coordinators are gone. Ben Johnson now coached the Bears. We'll get to them at some point here. Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator, is now the next coach to be fired by the Jets. The replacement for Dan Campbell's team, you have John Morton, who has not called plays since 2017, and Kelvin Shepard, who has never been an offensive coordinator. And there's also some issues. I don't know what you're going to get from the offensive line. They've got 2 offensive linemen that are gone from the interior. One retired, one left, and they replaced them with raw rookies. And Dan Campbell's team has 7 road games against playoff teams from last season. They also, as we mentioned earlier here, you talk about the very difficult schedule. They play 11 games versus playoff teams from last year. That is tied with Philadelphia for the most in the NFL. Jared Goff had a statistically amazing season last year. You look at the offensive line, the coaching turmoil, all of that. Lions are a 9 or a 10 win team this year. I am going to go under the 10.5. And what about our friend the penny?
Yeah, throw that penny in a perfect spiral like the lame brain lion. Very good. That Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the under, and Benny also going with the under.
All right, what's next, Tom? Where are we going now?
Okay, let's go to San Francisco Bay Area, where popsicles were invented, and coincidentally, the 49ers sucked last year. San Francisco 49ers projected to win 10.5 games.
So I don't see how this Niner team wins 10.5 games. I'll start right there. I'll be Benny Downer again on the 49ers. Oh, you're just a Ram fan. That's why you're doing that. No, I'm not. I am a Ram fan, but I look at this objectively. I want to win. I'm in it to win it. I want to win. I want to win these bets.
You want to beat a brainless Penny like you didn't last year. Yes.
And you told me that you said, Ben, you live in LA. You live near Hollywood. You told me when I was younger, Tom, you said you have to hate old people because that's Hollywood old people. And you look at the 49ers, Trent Williams, George Kittle, and Fred Warner are still good, but they're old, Tom, by NFL standards. There's major depth issues. If my math is correct, I do use Maller math, Tom. I use Maller math. The Niners lost almost 20 players via free agency trade, release, or retirement. And they're going to start on defense up to, that's a weasel term, 7 of the 11 defensive players will be first or second year players. And the Komodo dragon in the room, Brock Purdy, got paid. He got a big bag of gold bullion, Brock Purdy. Good for him. The problem, he's not that good. He doesn't make players around him better. And Christian McCaffrey, who is good, the problem is he lives inside the injury tent. He's always hurt. He played just 4 games last season.
He'll give you a good 8 games a year.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. It's a tinderbox of a situation by the 49ers. So Kyle Shanahan, this is the kind of a year where if they go out there and stink it up again after paying Brock Purdy, Shanahan's all of a sudden on the hot seat. I'm going to go under the 10.5 wins for the 49ers.
Okay, let's see what the penny says.
Look at that penny. Beautiful. Shiny
beautiful,
penny.
yes. Throw that penny in the air real good.
Oh,
okay, up. Ooh, Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the under. Benny also going safe with the under. Let's go to the windy city of Chicago, where I won't tell another National Guard joke like I did with Washington, D.C. Bears prognosticated to get 9.5 wins.
All right, so
I'm sorry, 7.5 wins this year.
Get it right, stupid. 7.5 wins. But listen, I don't buy the hype on the Bears. Ben Johnson, we mentioned him coming over from the Lions. And while everyone says he's going to be great, if you look at the history, you look at the comps, first-year NFL head coaches, with few exceptions, not good. Not good. Is Ben Johnson going to be the exception to the rule? Probably not. You also have a new defensive philosophy with Dennis Allen, I know that's your favorite.
One of the greats. He was one of the great Raider coaches over the course of the year.
Is it true that Dennis Allen's one of the coaches that was so great? That's why the Raiders moved to Vegas, that people stopped caring about the Raiders because of Dennis Allen. Anyway, he is the
might have been Tom Cable or fill in the blank. Fill in the blank.
Yeah, all of the above. No. Listen, they got new defensive coach, new head coach, and so younger roster. Caleb Williams, I have him down as a stat bandito, Tom. Caleb Williams in his rookie season, statistically, he had good numbers: 3,500 yards passing, only 6 interceptions. A lot of empty numbers. Didn't make a lot of big plays. Not a lot of wow moments there. Held the ball for too long. Struggled under pressure. Failed to close out tight games, winnable games for the Bears. And the Bears, if you look at the look-ahead line, they're favored in only 6 of the 17 games. That's it. So not only do they have to run the gauntlet in the NFC North this season, they also have matchups against Baltimore, San Francisco, who's a wild card. Maybe they're a playoff team, maybe they're not. Philadelphia and Cincinnati. So that is, even if you eliminate the Niners, you have the divisional games, Green Bay now with Micah Parsons. You've got the Lions, who will still be good, but not as good as last year, and the Vikings. And then you combine that with Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Cincinnati. That is not a winning formula. To me, skepticism is warranted. You know, Chicago, here's a fun fact now.
Okay.
Chicago has not won a playoff game in 15 years. the penny picking here? I'm taking the under.
Yeah, Penny's going with tails as well. Penny picking the under. Benny going with the under. Okay.
All right.
Okay, time for what we like to call the B block, Big Ben. And back in the TV business, way back in the day, we called it the B block. Our director, Quentin Tarantino Jr., telling me in my ear that we're kicking off the B block with some player props. Is that true, Big Ben? Do we have some cool player props?
Well, this is the part. Now, normally we'd play some car commercials and we'd play some other commercials.
Yes.
But we've decided, because we are men of the people, Tom. We're men of the people, each of us here. So we decided to give back to you watching this on YouTube, where is a commercial-free broadcast. Other than the fact that, as you see, the player prop graphic there, powered by Body Shaper, which I think is no longer in business here. But I don't need to go over the numbers. Aaron Rodgers now with the Pittsburgh Steelers there, and his first season, it was terrible with the Jets. Got hurt the first year, and then last year just empty kind of blah numbers. I'm going to go over, though. I'm going to go over on Aaron Rodgers. Why would you do that? It makes no sense to go over.
Why would you do that? It makes no sense.
Better players around him in Pittsburgh, and Mike Tomlin, a better coach. I just have a feeling that Aaron.
You know what happens to people when they leave the New York Jets, Big Ben?
What's that, Tom? What happens?
They start to play better.
Oh, is that right? All right. Well, that's good. That's good. And we'll get a bunch of people calling radio shows. I don't understand why Aaron Rodgers didn't play like this with the Jets. I don't get it. Yeah. Okay. Well, deal with it. As far as Saquon Barkley, so I'm going over on Rodgers. Saquon Barkley, I'm going to go under. You see that rush total, rushing yards. I'm going under. That was a career year last year for Barkley. There will be a regression to the mean. Also, Sam Darnold. Are you kidding me? Sam Darnold now in Seattle. Good luck to my friend Nostradamus in Seattle, JJ and Renton and those guys. That is not going to work out very well there. And remember, there are more ways to win these player props and team props when you bet the under. It's harder to win the over. You bet the under. You can win because players underachieve. Oftentimes, we're dealing with human beings here. They will underachieve. So you've got that factor. And then you also have the injury factor, which is a dark cloud. And you take it like, so Saquon Barkley, let's say he gets hurt. Barkley gets hurt in Philadelphia in week 5, and he misses 3 games. Okay, he comes back. Is there any chance he reaches that number if he misses 3 games? Heck no. All right, enough of that. Let's get back to the season win totals on this maiden voyage of the YouTube version of Benny versus the Penny.
Okay, great. Let's go to Kansas City, Missouri, home of the Ben Maller Chicken Fingers. The Chiefs prognosticated to get 11.5 wins.
Yeah, so the Ben Maller Chicken Fingers are in Liberty, Missouri, at the landing in Liberty, Missouri. I know you go there every time you're in Kansas City, Todd. So this is the first time I'm going to be Benny Brightside on this show. I'm going to go over on Kansas City. I'm going to go over on Kansas City. Now, Mahomes is being questioned. He's being criticized. He's being doubted from what happened last year. He did not have a good year. And that's the amazing thing about this Kansas team. Where were they at the end of last year, Tom? Where were they? What game were they?
I believe that would be Super Bowl LXIIVICK.
Yeah. Something like that. It was a down year, and Kansas City still played the Super Bowl. Mahomes will bounce back. I understand that he'll be without Rashee Rice to begin the year because he decided he was playing a video game driving around Texas. But Andy Reid remains one of the great tacticians of our era, our time here in the NFL. The Chiefs rarely lose games they're supposed to win. And if you just go by the look-ahead line, the rundown shows that of the 17 games, the Chiefs are favored to win at least 12 of the 17. So if they just, let's say they win 11 of those matchups, they lose one they're supposed to win, and then they win one of the games they're not supposed to win, boom, that gets you to 12. And you also have Taylor Swift. And I know you're a big conspiracy guy, Tom, so you told me that the NFL will not allow the Chiefs to be bad as long as Taylor Swift is part of it.
That's what my friends, because also I work in the news media and we have connections with the Illuminati and the dark web and everything else, and that's what I've heard.
Yeah, because you sent me an email. You said, Ben, the rumor is that so-and-so is a lizard person, so the lizard people can't go back. All right, what is next, Tom? What are we? Oh, let's get to the pick here. The Benny round.
We flip a coin. That's what's next. It's Benny versus the Penny. We flip a coin.
That's right. A penny.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, we
Copper.
do. Penny versus the penny. Penny laying on edge. Penny going with the over. Benny going with the over with the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, what's next, Tom? Where are we going now? Come on.
Okay, let's go to New York. Not the part with the tall buildings, Big Ben.
Not the good part. Not the good part. No.
The part where people drink pop and the Mennonites ride around in horse and buggies. Buffalo Bills getting 12.5 wins. Under or over, Ben? Where does a degenerate gambler put his money when it comes to the Buffalo Bills?
The team of your youth, Tom.
Yes.
The Buffalo Bills right there. I call it a suburb of Niagara Falls, Buffalo. It's really just a suburb of Niagara Falls.
Yeah, it's 2 hours north of Elmira. That's what I always how I always refer to Buffalo. That's how people usually try to find out how to get there.
Well, listen, last year it was a magical year for the Bills. They didn't win, but it was a magical year. During the regular season, they had a plus 24 turnover differential, which is next level. 32 takeaways, 8 giveaways for Buffalo last year, which is, I keep going back to unsustainable regression to the mean. And while the Bills have a pretty solid defense up front, the secondary, they don't have a lot of wow factor playmakers in that secondary. And despite being favored in every single game, the Bills are favored in every game this season on their schedule.
Incredible.
Despite that, the under 12.5 wins at minus 150 last we looked over on FanDuel. That suggests that the smart money does not expect Buffalo to reach that rarefied air here. That is a red flag, the pessimism on the Buffalo Bills. And this is a team, they get off to a slow start. They played Baltimore week 1, and this could be the old death spiral. Good luck on that. I am going to go under on Buffalo. Under on
Buffalo. Premature manipulation there, Ben. Let's see what
Tom. This is a highfalutin TV show on YouTube. Come on.
It seems like they'd be able to afford at the right time. Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the under, and Penny going with the under as well.
It's hard to believe, Tom, that you would jump the gun. It's hard to believe that you would do that on this. I can't.
Yes, I usually do that with microphones, not necessarily buttons. We go to Baltimore, Maryland, a stone's throw from the Preakness, and down the stretch they come. The Ravens forecast to get 11.5 wins.
So a murderer's row schedule here for Baltimore. They open up against Buffalo, as we mentioned earlier here in this show, Detroit, Kansas City, Houston, and the LA Rams. All of those playoff caliber teams, all those teams that have been regulars in the playoffs in recent years. So very difficult start. No team also has won this division 3 straight years since the divisional format as we know it started back in 2002.
So they're in a murderer's row division and they have a murderer's row schedule, but so does everyone else in that division.
Well, they've got a little tougher in Baltimore. You got Derrick Henry, who's now, I believe, 31, if my Maller math is correct here. And Baltimore led the entire NFL in EPA per handoff, Tom, and also red zone efficiency. And again, these things normalize. You normally don't do that 2 years in a row. So I know you love your running quarterback in Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens are always
my favorite football player. He makes me feel like a kid. He's like, are we really supposed to have favorite football players when I'm over 40? Yes, I love Lamar Jackson.
Well, I didn't know you were over 40. You've always said you stopped aging at 30. That's number one. Number two, you love Lamar Jackson. He is like you when you were playing sports because in big games he doesn't show up. But I'm going to take the under on the Ravens. What's next, Tom? What's next?
We flip a coin. It's Benny versus the penny.
All right, we'll flip a penny. Flip the damn coin. What do we got here? Come on.
What's next? Okay.
I got places to go.
Shout out to our friend, Baltimore broadcast Jerry Coleman. Okay, Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the under, and Benny going with the under as usual because you're a hater. You never have anything good to say, and you never pick the Baltimore Ravens, and you won't pick them for the next 16 weeks when they play on Sunday and Thursday and Saturday and Monday as well.
Well, that's not true, Tom, number one. Number two, I did pick the Ravens last year, and I think the time I picked them, they lost.
Yes. We had a big celebration that you picked them, and yes, they did. We go to Foxborough, Massachusetts, where the Vegas and the National Weather Service have forecasted the Patriots to go over or under 8.5 wins.
Yeah, so I believe the Patriots are going to be better. When I sat down to start handicapping the Patriots this season and look at the additions and the subtractions and I know Alf, the alien opiner, big Patriot guy and all that. I was like, I got a lot of friends there in the Boston area. And I was like, all right, this looks like a team that's going to go over the win total. But then I saw the win total is 8.5. And I was like, what are you talking about? That number is way too high. This has been a 4 or 5 win football team the last couple of years. They have a new offensive coordinator who's the old offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels, who must have pictures of Robert Kraft. He's back as the OC there with the Patriots, which you'd say is good news until you realize the only times Josh McDaniels has been any good is when Tom Brady is playing for him. His resume since then, if it was ice cream, it'd be rocky road since Tom Brady, since he did it without Tom Brady. And even with a soft schedule, the Patriots have a rather...
Wouldn't you say if it was ice cream, it would just be vanilla? Rocky Road is interesting and fun. Vanilla is just...
I disagree. It's a rocky road. It's bumpy.
I see. Okay, that was a play on words. Rather, I was thinking...
Are you trying to touch up my analogy?
I was trying to... But unlike you, I will say, maybe I was wrong. That was a good analogy. Something that would never come out of your mouth.
I would not do that, Tom. I would never do that. I'd never believe. I learned that from the president. You do not apologize. So Mike Vrabel is a culture builder. And the thing about Vrabel, and we'll get into this as we do Benny versus the Penny during the season, Mike Vrabel is a gift to those of us that bet on games, because even when his teams don't win, they cover the spread. The question is not whether the Patriots are going to cover 8.5 games. The question is whether or not Mike Vrabel is a miracle worker, and his teams in Tennessee overachieved. He's inheriting a fractured, incomplete roster. Offensive line should be a little bit better. They have a hotshot rookie running back in Henderson who they like a lot. But I am going to go under. That is too high, 8.5 wins. I'm going under on the Patriots.
Okay, let's see what the penny says here.
All right.
The producer's yelling in my ear to speed it up.
All right, yeah.
Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the under. Benny also going with the under. What's the name of that bakery you took me to in North Boston? That was
Boba's Bakery, north end of Boston, my favorite bakery. It's open all night. It's hard to find places open all night these days.
I love it. Yeah, right. I'm like a mafia guy. I like to leave the house for dinner at 10 o'clock.
And you had never, fun fact about Tomm Looney, you had never been to the north end of Boston before last year.
Not until I went with you. I was there
that's
with you, your lovely bride. We were there with Eric Melendez. Remember, not Eric Menendez. It's just been a rumor that I'm the godfather to Eric Menendez. No, I'm the godfather to Eric Melendez.
I believe my wife was there as well. She was hanging out with his wife.
I did mention that your wife was there. Thanks for listening to
I wasn't listening, actually. I was not. All right, what is next, Tom?
Let's go to La La Land, the team of your youth. Been a chubby kid that you were growing up on Skid Row, eating Dove bars and cheering for the Rams. Vegas says the Rams are going to get 9.5 wins. I get a big kick out of myself, don't I?
Well, I actually ate Eskimo pies, which have been canceled, Tom. You can't eat those Eskimo pies because the world's a better place without Eskimo pies, clearly. Listen, the Rams have elite coaching continuity. Sean McVay entering year number 9. How many wins has McVay averaged in his time with the Rams per year? Well, the answer is 10. He's averaged 10 wins per year. The Rams have been a great second-half team, 6-2, 6-2 the last 2 years, and they were the team that gave the Philadelphia Eagles last year the biggest scare. They had a chance late in the NFC playoff game to upset the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, it didn't work out. Philadelphia won the Super Bowl. The Rams generally win close games, and everyone's freaking out because of Matthew Stafford's back. I don't expect Stafford to make it through the season. Spoiler alert, guess what? The Rams will still figure out a way to win. Why? Defense wins championships. You taught me that when I was a little boy, Tom.
Because I read it. It was a Mark Twain novel, Connecticut Arthur and Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, and that was the first time it was ever said.
Well, I actually hate that line. I love the Rams defense. Jared Verse is a stud.
Okay, how about it was defensive coach legend Foge Fazio that said it first. Is that a better line?
There you go. Why not? But no, listen, Jared Verse is a really elite pass rusher. The Rams have at least 3 guys that are game changers on defense coming into this year. And more importantly, you got good head coach. You've got a pretty sound defense, and the AFC South is the other division the Rams play against. So they play the Titans, the NFL's worst team, the Colts with Daniel Jones, Jacksonville, who can't get out of their own shadow with Trevor Lawrence, and the Houston Texans. All those teams beatable. The strength of schedule is not that great. The look-ahead line, if you go by the look-ahead line, the Rams are favored in 13 games. So they could be 3 games under the look-ahead line and still win the season total. So you can ram it all day and you can ram it all night. The Rams and the over 9.5. What about
Okay. Let's toss that penny up into the smoky Inglewood air full of smog and pot and chemtrails and see what we get. Penny landing on tails. Penny going with the under. Benny going with the over.
we got to land the plane soon, Tom. Where are we going now?
Okay, so we do pick every game on Benny versus the penny. We're up against the clock here. Big Ben, as they've been telling us in our ear, the team with the lowest win totals are the Browns and the Saints. Big Ben at 4.5. You're going over on the Browns, under on the Saints.
Yeah, so the Browns defense is good enough where they'll win at least 5 games with Myles Garrett. So defense will win you a few games. I'm going to go over on that. They have no quarterback. The Saints have no quarterback. They have no defense. They have no offensive line. More importantly, they have no depth, Tom. So once the injuries start piling up for the New Orleans Saints, it's going to get really nasty. They are in it. They're marching into the tank category to try to get Arch Manning. So that's the way I'm going on that. Let's move on from that, Tom.
Yes. Now, does the show make sense to you now? You, the viewer, not you, Big Ben. Okay, as we transition to the C block and a full screen Looney, just like I like. Can we give us a full screen Looney? I would like a full screen Looney. Oh, thank you. Full screen
Okay,
Looney.
good. I'm off cam. I'm going to go pick my nose now, Tom.
Okay, loose change. Here we go. Ben's back on the under train as we round it out in what we like to call loose change. Back to you, Big Ben.
All right. Well, listen, we'll start out with the talking bear, Caleb Williams. The story came out this week. Caleb Williams admitted that he's driving around Chicago and he listens to voice recordings of his play calls at the line of scrimmage and then yells out the cadence while he's driving around, stuck in traffic around Lake Michigan. And he's trying to use his vocal inflection as a weapon. And so people have been goofing on Caleb Williams. I'm actually going to defend Caleb Williams on this one. I believe it is perfectly normal to do this. Now, it's not normal to scream. It's not a sign of mental illness. Everyone does self-talk, whether you do it out loud or not. We all do self-talk.
I know you practice your Maller monologue in the car in LA traffic, don't you?
Yeah. Normally I scream profanity and I question my existence why I'm driving into the studio when I'm doing that. But no, I do occasionally. I will talk to myself sometimes. We famously have had the table read. We are in the same room, but we're essentially talking to ourselves when we're doing the table read.
Yes.
And because neither one of us,
incredible table read today, probably better than the show.
That is correct, yes. Which is a lesson, Tom, to always record the table read, which we clearly did not do, which is unfortunate. And moving on from that, how about no Taylor time, Tom? The newly engaged wag. You know what a wag is, Tom?
A wag, a wife or a girlfriend, a wife or a girlfriend.
A wife or girlfriend. We wag, wag, like wag the dog. So Taylor Swift doing the Super Bowl halftime show, a popular bet.
Well, you didn't pay that off. For those who don't know, what is a wag?
Yeah, wives and girlfriends. So
well, okay.
And I guess Taylor's a girlfriend, but she's engaged, so she's going to be a wife.
You know, that's not all inclusive. Not every NFL player has a girlfriend.
I understand, Tom. I'm just going by the term. So anyway, listen, the Super Bowl halftime show. A lot of people saying Taylor Swift is going to, do that. She's going to perform the halftime show. The game's in Northern California in February. I don't believe it, despite all the money being bet. Here's why. Because if the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, then she's going to want to watch her husband play in the Super Bowl, right? That would make sense. She doesn't want to futz around with the whatchamacallit and the thingamajig for the halftime show. And if the Chiefs are not in the Super Bowl, how embarrassing would that be to Travis Kelce? Hey, Travis, you just lost to the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. Why don't you go out there to the Super Bowl where you were supposed to be playing and be a backup dancer to your wife at halftime? How embarrassing would that be? So forget about that. And then finally,
you think it's more likely to be the Arctic Monkeys?
Sure. Or Green Day, Tom. You told me you like Green Day. But last one, Tom. So the NFL announced with Nike a deal where 8 teams are going to wear, they're calling them rivalry uniforms. And this whole thing smells like what it is. It's a money grab situation. Obviously, it's a money grab wrapped in a press release and all that. And I just love the fact that the people at Nike paid all this money, and it's a fine company. They paid all this money to partner with the NFL, and they realized that most NFL teams, they don't want to change their uniforms. They don't want to change their logos, right? So they're not selling new merchandise. And they got together, Nike with the NFL. They sat in a boardroom somewhere probably in Manhattan, and they said, how do we sell more jerseys to people that don't need more jerseys because they already own 5 jerseys? And then they had this amazing light bulb moment where they're like, okay, let's invent a new uniform out of thin air, and we'll have teams wear it once a year. We'll come up with some bullcrap backstory because everyone loves a story, and fans will pay $200 for the honor of having the jersey. So yeah, I'm not into that at all. But that's it, Tom. We got to land the plane right now.
Yes. As the roughly 40 minutes and 45 seconds of our premiere show this year for Benny versus the Penny in season 3 comes to an end. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.